Hi guys, and we are back for some more Duel of Champions, and as we're waiting for our players to arrive, we're just going to entertain you guys as much as we possibly can. Entertain. And so yeah, basically guys, hi, welcome, and hope you guys enjoy. We are live from the Paris Games Week, streaming the Worldwide Championship Finals, the Road to Paris Finals, and we have had some amazing games so far with our four finalists, who are...
We had Oyo from France. We had Smurfburn from North America. We had Avkall, as well as Matrix Disc, the former world champion, who has now been eliminated because we are down to the finals. Avkall eliminated the former world champion Matrix Disc from the competition. And then in the last round, we saw an absolute mugging as Smurfburn took a 3-0 victory over Oyo. Pretty crazy to say the least. I'm very excited. We've got two underdogs that are in the finals. Two people most did not expect to see get this far. We will have a new world champion, and it's going to be very exciting. I mean, we've seen some pretty intense action. What's been your favorite moment today so far?
Well, I haven't seen much of what was happening between Smurfburn and Oyo, to be honest. I really like seeing that game where, if I remember rightly, we had Avkall kill off the Nyorai Sirenza there, and it was a surprising kill. I can't remember exactly how he did it, but I know I was surprised to see how, the result. And it was a decisive kill for the rest of the game. Taking out Nyorai at that point really did give him the advantage, I think, at that point in time. Opening up a lane, enabling him to hit Matrix and getting rid of such a good creature there. So that for me was one of my favorite gameplays of the day. Hopefully there'll be more as we watch, basically. So yeah, my name, for those of you who are joining us, my name is Azza44. I'm the community manager for the English version of the game, and I am joined with Jason Paradise, who is the community manager for the Road to Paris, and he's been doing some great work here with us, helping us manage the whole event and make sure everything goes as smooth as possible, and commenting today with us here. So thanks for joining in. We are going to be going live very soon, and being interrupted by his space elephant right now. And our finalists are Smurfburn versus Avkall, two players that no one expected really to get this far. We knew they were good, otherwise they wouldn't be here. And yeah, basically we didn't expect them to get this far. They did great yesterday, barely getting into the finals though. Barely getting into the finals. It came down to a question of points really, and they've just blown away their competition right now. It's been really exciting to see, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it.
Indeed, I think it's actually really worth mentioning as well just how Smurfburn got into the finals, because one of the tournament favorites, Nillycombs, was actually tied with him going into the end of day one. And the way the tiebreaker worked was actually based on win-losses for the entire day. If you ended up going 2-1 in a game and still losing, like you had the one win but you lost anyways, it was actually weighted heavier than if you just lost 2-0. Smurfburn had more 2-1 losses. They were both 4-3 at the end of the day, but because he had more 2-1 losses, he ended up advancing over Nillycombs. So, and now we see that he's actually proven that he deserves to be here by taking out Oyo 3-0 at the start of this day. So, very crucial to say the least. That one victory yesterday, one game, really changed the course of this entire tournament. And now he's on his mission to prove that North Americans can hang with the best of them in this game too, as he is looking to take down Avkall in the finals. But Avkall's got something to prove too. When I was speaking to him about this game, he basically had said he never thought he'd make it this far, and he's got some really strong decks up his sleeves. He played some amazing Takana Asura Sanctuary yesterday. That's the thing that really carried him to the finals. And today he pulled out different things. He played Zardock, I believe, and then also finished off with the Gakamis. So we might see a little bit more from him. We'll see what he brings to the table today. I know Smurfburn's told me a couple of strategies he had up his sleeve, some Nurgle Slowpoke even. We might see if he brings that out. But overall, I'm absolutely thrilled that we're going to be able to cast this live for you guys here in just a little bit. We're going to see if these guys are getting set up. It looks like we might be getting some news on that right now, and we will be getting these finals to you very shortly. If you guys have any questions, gotcha. We just got word that due to time constraints, they're cutting it from best of 7 to best of 5. That's a little disappointing for at least the fact that it will be best of 5, not best of 7. But the show actually closes here in 2 hours, so we got to make sure that we are able to crown a champion before the stream is actually over. So, while that is a little bit of a shame, it is basically due to time constraints. So Amar is banned. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat right now. We are basically just here chatting with you guys until the games start. If you have any questions, please let us know. It will be best of 5, simply because of time. So because the event will be closing in 2 hours, we can't do a best of 7. It is a little bit of a bummer, but that is the case.
Absolutely. So to come back a bit more let's talk a bit more about our players right now. So the first player I want to talk about a bit more is Smurfburn. As you mentioned, Jason, you talked a lot about him, where he comes from, how he did throughout the competition, and we've seen some very interesting gameplay from him. But Avkall, I think, will be a surprise. I'm guessing that he's going to carry on with his rush strategies. He's been a tremendously strong opponent in terms of rushing the board, taking control, and getting a lot of damage output on the board so that he can then just destroy his opponent's creatures. And that has really worked out well for him.
So I see one question in the chat that I'd like to go over real quick. Someone said, quick recap on how these guys made it to the finals. Sure, we had the Road to Paris tournament that was going on for the entirety, basically, of the year. And there were 8 different ways to qualify. All different parts of the world were able to qualify. We had online qualifiers, in-person qualifiers, and each of these players won something to be able to get here. Jayzilla, he won PAX Australia. Avkall, he won DreamHack. Smurfburn, he won our North American Championship. So all of these players did win something to be able to get here. And next year will be a little bit different. More details will be coming in the future for that. But stay tuned, and we will have that for you hopefully soon. But we're actually going to be talking about that very soon ourselves, deciding on the final details, and we'll be getting that out to you guys as quickly as possible. So, as for the rest of the players, though, the main 2 that we want to look at, we have Avkall, Smurfburn. Smurfburn was the North American champion. Avkall won DreamHack. And the other 2 that were in the finals today, Matrix, he was actually a winner at Eurogamer. This just recently happened about a month ago. I believe it was in London. And then Oyo was our online qualifier from July. So that's a quick recap on how those 4 got here. And next year, like we were saying, it's going to be a little different, but stay tuned. We'll have more details for you soon.
So once again, guys, thanks for joining us today. It's been a real pleasure to be here. We hope you've enjoyed so far what you've seen. I also like to take this moment to thank all our streamers out there for doing such a great job. I know Enclace was out there streaming all those games last night, and he streamed until a very late hour. And I would like to personally thank Enclace for his work with the community. It's been really nice to work with such a guy, and to say congratulations on his streaming, because it really is awesome. And I invite all of you guys to basically go and check out Enclace's stream from time to time, as he often has really fun content for you and definitely high level games. So, yeah, it's been awesome to be here, and we are going to be live quite soon. Hopefully our players will be getting ready quite soon, and we will keep you updated on that. While we're waiting, don't forget you can ask us any question you want in the chat. We'd be more than happy to answer those questions for you and keep you posted on what's happening. So far we've had some great gameplays, as you've seen, and yeah, tell us in the chat what your favourite moment of the day was. We'd love to hear if you've noticed something that really struck you as being particularly good and well played, and if you have any ideas like that, please send it to us. As you may know, we've published recently a video of the 5 best players of the year from the few best players we've been sent and we've seen and we've collected. But if you have any more suggestions, make sure you keep them on the side, because we'd love to hear of those for next year's 5 best players of the year, and it's definitely something we'd like to be doing more often. So the more players you can send us, the better, and I'm sure we can find lots of things to do with that.
I see a couple of plays that have already been talked about in the chat that I think were really special today. There was the moment where we saw Smurfburn actually take the risk, pull a card, and do a double week of the Mercenaries, as we see some people in the crowd. Hello there. To win the game versus Oyo, that was absolutely insane. I actually think one of my favorites today was the misplay that Avkall did, where he actually dropped the POW Deathseeker into a row with an ambush creature and ended up losing it, but he still was able to keep his composure. He was able to keep the composure and actually still take home the victory, even though that happened. which is absolutely crazy in my mind. A victory of that nature after making such a mistake, that shows actually a very good reserve, some skill in just maintaining your emotions, because it's so easy to let that get out of control after making a play like that. So pretty cool to see. I saw someone ask how what our favorite factions were. And personally, in this current meta, I think outmaneuver decks like a Shuma are very powerful. So I think that's probably my favorite right now. That Sanctuary has definitely got my love. What about you, Azza?
Yeah, I have to say Sanctuary is my favorite for now. I mean, for a long time I was working out Strongholds, but in a sense I think both of these factions are very similar in many respects because they have some very strong creatures, but what makes them really deadly are the abilities. Be it Enrage or Outmaneuver, those abilities really make them deadly, and I think this is why I like them so much. And currently I'm playing a Sanctuary Shuma. However, I've been looking into playing Shalan with the Might of the Sea and Strength of the Sea and Might of Nature. So it's Might of the Sea Shalan or Strength of Nature Shalan. You can call it however you want. So yeah, basically those are my favourites, and yeah, I also otherwise would also like to switch things around, but play more Trollich decks. So it's never going to be the same thing. Generally, it's some kind of weird tactic that sounds really fun on paper, but never really works, and doesn't really matter. I have fun with it, and I enjoy it that way. So.
Yeah, very much so. So we're actually going to be getting started here very shortly. We are seeing the competitors starting to get ready, and they'll be heading up to the stage soon. So we'll be able to get that to you guys as soon as that does go live. And we actually, I think, should be starting hopefully rather shortly. Actually, we were talking about possibly getting it up a little bit early. I don't know if that's going to be the case now that we switched to a best of 5. So. Again, the finals will be a best-of-5 matches between North American player Smurfburn and also Avkall, our DreamHack champion. So stay tuned for that. If you guys do have any questions, please let us know. We would love to answer your questions. We'd love to chat with you guys while we are waiting. And we're pretty stoked. I mean, this is the end of a very long year for us. A lot of hard work all coming together to see a new world champion crowned. Matrix, his title is lost. He was the 2012 champion. 2013, however, is going to belong to either Smurfburn or Avkall. So we'll see what they bring to the table. I don't think we'll see any crazy troll decks. Trupicio yesterday, he brought some really funny troll decks to the game. Played a Zorm with Gates of Shio, which is a card that, of course, allows you to check the 5 top cards in your deck. See if there's anything there that you want to play. Play one of those cards and discard the rest. He tried to play it. It failed miserably. So that was a shame for him. But I think we're going to see some pretty interesting decks in this next couple of matches. I'd love to ask your opinion. What do you think we're going to see? Are we going to see more of the same decks like Avkall's Akamis again? Or do you think that we're going to see them bring out other things to the table?
Well, I definitely expect Avkall's Akamis. That is, for me, one of the things we can expect, a staple of his gameplay. And he's been playing it since the start, basically. And he's shown us how good he can be playing that deck. I also expect him to be playing some more Keltor eventually. He's been good at that as well. Basically, yeah, his 2 favorite set actions are a lot like me, seem to be Sanctuary and Stronghold, and he's been getting very good results with them. So why should he change now? Why should he risk it? I mean, there is so much at play right now that I wouldn't be surprised if he stuck to the same. Smurfburn, on the other hand, I think he's much more of a versatile player, so he may surprise us by switching around much more than than anticipated. He's been getting ready for this for a long time and practicing with G-Trick, who is also one of the best North American players out there, and they have been practicing an insane amount for this. And it does look like, even if it did look like he was going to be the underdog and coming out of nowhere, he really has been practicing hard despite what we may think. And I think he's earned his title so far.
Absolutely. I have to thank, actually, he is in the chat right now. I want to thank Crixius as well, another top North American player who has absolutely been a cornerstone of our community since coming on board just a few live events ago. Crixius, D-Trick, Smurfburn, we're really starting to get a very deep North American vibrant scene growing in this game. which is really amazing to see considering there's been such a heavy European influence for so long. And I was even having a chat with one of our CMs here, Kamundi, who is doing the French stream. If you would like to hear some of the French commentary, you can definitely go over to their stream as well. They're streaming this live on Jeux Video. So go check that out if you would like to hear the French commentary. But I was speaking with Kamundi before this tournament about the winners, who he thought was the favorites, and he of course said Oyo and Grobel, of course, the two French players, for sure. Smurfburn, North America has no chance. We'll see, they have no chance whatsoever. And he actually came up after the last match when Smurfburn won, and he came up to us and said, you know what, I want to apologize because I did not realize how good these players were, and I was completely mistaken. So I feel almost a sense of pride in seeing how well not only just the North American scene's growing, but the Duel of Champions scene as a whole. So I think that Smurfburn being in the finals is just it's a statement in and of itself. Avkall, however, could shut that down quite a bit if he is the one that ends up taking home the 2013 World Championship.
Yeah, as I see players get ready on the stage, I'm just going to give you a quick background, guys, a quick history of the road to Paris, just for you guys to understand where we come from with this. It all started out about a year and a half ago when we decided to do a championship for Duel of Champions, decided to make it the very first World Championship, and that was taking place at the DreamHack Winter 2012. And that is basically to prepare for that. We had a big competition on the forums, a big tournament, a classic forum tournament on the forums, where I believe 128 of the best players of the moment took part, and the four finalists were invited to DreamHack to join us for that big final over there. And obviously Matrix came out winner from that, followed closely by M&M's versus Smarties, who unfortunately did not make it this year to the finals. Since then, we rethought the whole process and the whole idea. I want to make it so much bigger than it was the year before that. So we decided to host it over a series of events, and not just one event this time, including a bunch of online events as well. And well, you pretty much know the rest, guys. So it's been absolutely great to to be able to host all this for you guys and with you guys. It's been great to see all your progress. We have learnt a lot. There are things that we can make better next time, and we intend to do that, and we have taken a lot away from this, and we will be giving you guys something hopefully that will please everyone, and that we will be able to fine-tune to please everyone.
I can't say enough about the plans we have for the future. And just to clarify, guys, I see some people talking about this. The reason we're using a headset mic is because our mic set broke earlier. It wasn't working apparently the best, so we wanted to get you guys the best audio possible. We are doing the best that we have equipment available for at the moment, so sorry about that. But again, we're going to be getting better in the future, so the next World Championship is going to be huge. You can bet on that. So definitely, if you are into Duel of Champions, stay tuned for amazing news coming in the next couple weeks/months as we are ready to unveil the 2014 World Championship, because that's going to be just right around the corner. But first things first, we have to crown our 2013 champion. So again, players are setting up. I actually do see them all on stage right now. We can see them behind us. Smurfburn, taking a sip of his water, is looking at his decks right now, getting ready to take on Avkall. Oh, we just got a hand signal of a couple of minutes right now, and then they will be starting up. So we've got the stream set up right here so that we can see, and we'll be going right into our brand new spectator mode as soon as that becomes available. Spectator mode is something that will be coming for you guys very soon, we hope, as long as everything goes the correct way. But we are getting to use it for the first time here at the World Championship, so you'll be able to see both players' hands, be able to know all of the action as it is happening. Not just a typical replay where you can only see one player, but we'll be able to see everything from the entire match. So I see someone in the chat that just said if Smurf wins, Jason must shave Az's hair. How do you feel about this, James?
Oh, absolutely confident that now I have to make sure Avkall wins, even if that means cheating. So thank you guys for mentioning that. That really makes my day much nicer. And I feel like I should start running as fast as possible away from here, as I really do not know who is going to win. It could be the one or the other. And as Jason has very kindly lost the chat for us, thank you, Jason. Thank you, Jason, for that. Jason has very kindly lost and found the chat for us. We are... So yeah, we're still waiting for our players to get ready. They are in place now, and hopefully we'll be starting any minute now. I can hear them start, and we've got a presenter up on the stage with them, getting everything ready, going, and here we go, we can see. And our first images are coming through. Hair is totally overrated. Well, no comment. No comment. Let's talk about that to Matrix and see what he thinks, shall we? So as babies get started, as we get the crowd rowdy, we can see our two players in the background there, getting ready, chatting on the chat there in game. We can see the cup for the winner, as well as the Xorm statue in the background there. And we will see. The Xorm statue is not available for anyone yet, apart from the winner here. This is the first guy who's going to actually take it. So a few small questions for Avkall there in the background. I'd love to know what he's thinking. We'd love to know what he's saying. Yeah, and basically Smurfburn is still checking out his computer, checking everything works for him. And as you can see, yeah, it's been a very intense day. The setup up there is quite something. We have hundreds of players watching live already, thousands of players on the French stream earlier on, thousands of players here. And once again, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you all for being here with us today. This is the Road to Paris Duel of Champions Worldwide Championship Finals. That is a long word to say, a long name to say. So thank you very much, guys, for being with us. These are the finals of a whole year's worth of competition, and we have got two very surprising players up on the stage. Avkall, who is our northern champion in a sense. He comes from Sweden, I believe. He comes from Sweden. And Smurfburn, our North American player. Avkall is on the left on the screen, Smurfburn on the right. And yeah, this is really, really exciting. Players are getting ready any second now to start gaming. And there's so much hype, as you say. It's so much hype going on right now. Let's see. Anything you want to add before we grab into the game when they start?
I'm ready to see the action. I don't know about you guys. I'm personally really excited to get this underway. So, again, we asked this before, but I would love to hear who you guys think is going to be the winner. Go ahead, let us know in chat. And we are about to get underway with Game 1, Best of 5. Who will win, Smurfburn, North American champion, or our Swedish DreamHack champion, Avkall? We see them both right here on the screen next to us, and we are getting hyped.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, for good reason. As we can see also a dual cast of our French stream over on the side as well. Kamundi, our French CM, big props to him for holding it down over on the French stream. And
Kamundi is being joined by Sylvain Medusa, who is a French streamer, who is often streaming Duel of Champions on every Tuesday night on one of the French online TV channels. So he's used to streaming on a regular basis, and big hi to our friends on the French stream, as the French community has been huge in Duel of Champions. They have really helped out a lot, made a huge amount of tournaments and things, and it's really nice to have them. And we love the enthusiasm, we love what everyone's doing for Duel of Champions. As you know, one of the main strengths I find for Duel of Champions is the community. You guys do so much, and we are about to get going.
all right, and I see something very interesting on the screen right away, which looks like we're hovering over an Akamis deck again. And this is Avkall. It looks like he's sticking. Oh, is he going with something different? We're switching back and forth between a couple of different decks, and it looks like it's going to be Akamis versus Demiria as our first game of the Road to Paris finals. If you would have told me Akamis was the first champion played in the finals, I don't think I would have believed you. So we are just about to get things underway, and we're going to get some good action here. As, again, we look at the first starting hand, Akamis, we saw a Dark Assassin, so pretty decent second play is going to be in their first creature to drop. Smurfburn, however, dropping that Succubus a little bit earlier. We are underway officially for the 2013 Road to Paris finals right now. That Dark Assassin's being dropped, and Smurfburn has a couple of Firebolts in his hand, so he's going to be able to deal with that quite nicely.
And this Akamas is the Akamas that we are used to seeing Avkall play. That surprise attack, once again, combined with those Tainted Orcs, really will help him out, I'm guessing. And yeah, hopefully Smurfburn will not be taken by surprise by this. He has got some great rush creatures there. I do see that Juggernaut there, which for 4/3/4 stats, which will be a considerable boost if he manages to pull it out on the third turn. Going for a Maws of Chaos here in order to disregard cards, and what will he choose to get rid of? I'm guessing that surprise attack will be a good choice. However, we've seen him do some great things with Sacrificial Altar throughout the game, and he does go with surprise attack, which I think is a good choice there.
Indeed. I do think that Avkall might want to rush a little bit here. He could do something like using that campfire. He does go up to 3 Destiny, so this could be a time for him to use that, pull an extra card, maybe even throw something out and use the Sacrificial Altar to get rid of the Lurker. Sacrificial Altar, a great card to get rid of an early Lurker. That Lurker, yep, there we do see the campfire. He pulls another Sacrificial Altar, not the best. He has 3 of those in his hand now. We see the Harpy come out. Is he going to sacrifice it? Yes. Gets rid of that Lurker in the dark and is able to push some damage through. So Avkall able to counter pretty decently, and we do see that Doombringer coming in to Smurfburn's hand.
It's a good start for Smurfburn, who looks like he is in a good position here. Let's see if he can keep this up and manage to, you know, add on to the board those creatures that really need to be added, that really count there. There is so much noise in the background. I hope you guys can hear me okay. We've had lots of issues with the sound previously. Hopefully this is now over, and we'll be able to enjoy these next 5 maybe games. It's the best of 5 for the finals, and we'll see who comes out victor. Equalizing 14-14 for the health here. Avkall carries on by placing. Let's see what he'll place. I'm going too fast here. I'm talking before I actually see what happens. He has got solutions here. You can go for another Centaur if he wants to, or he can go for a Black Skull Shredder, which does have quick attack and swift. So that could be a good choice to place down early on to be able to surprise your attack. He does use that right now and moves it out of the way, preparing to tank with his hero instead of taking damage from the Succubus to his, basically keeping his Black Skull Shredder alive. Sounds like a good solution here. He has got enough health points to play around with. He should be okay for the moment. However, he has to be very careful about this rush that Smurfburn may place onto the board.
I mean, he still does have 2 Sacrificial Altars in his hand. That could be something to use. I don't know if he wants to give up the position, especially because he already attacked with the Shredder. So he's deciding right now. I think the big decision right now for him is, does he put the Harpy out? He has to be wary of things like a Forbidden Flame. Smurfburn is at 2 magic. He could go up to 3 and use something like a Forbidden Flame. We, of course, know what is in his hand because we saw it through spectator mode, but unfortunately, Avkall, of course, has to make this call on his own. Does he want to load the board up or not? And he decides to. He does put the Harpy out. We know for a fact that Smurf does not have that Forbidden Flame. He does have the Doombringer, however. He also has interesting choices like the Insect Swarm. That is something he could use. He does have the Bloater as well. The Bloater could be put into the top lane and use the Week of the Dead. No, he decides he's going to use Firebolt to do that instead. What is his choice here? Is he going to use the Insect Swarm? There it is. He's clearing the entire board with this. Beautiful play by Smurfburn.
Good way to clear out the board here. He does still have a Lilim on the board. Lilim with that 3 attack is a very nice creature to have on your board. However, Avkall has pulled out Tainted Orc, which he instantly plays down on the third row. Very aggressive here. Not going for the Lilim, leaving that Lilim alone for the moment. Going for the aggression, which is probably the good choice here, forcing his opponent to start countering if he doesn't want to take too much damage here. That Juggernaut there is normally used as a rush creature that is played on an empty row. For example, the first or the third row are perfect for that. However, the choices that Smurfburn will have to make now is, will he decide to defend or will he go for something more aggressive? He does pull out some Magic Peddler and decides to go for the Forbidden Flame here. Has played a Bloater on the third row, countering quite neatly this Tainted Orc, which will be killing off the Bloater, but you know, getting full damage dealt to it because of it.
So one thing worth mentioning here is that Akamas did just use a campfire and he did not get a good pull from it. He got a gold pile, which isn't going to be very much use. A lot of his hand is dead right now. And it's worth noting that Smurfburn does have a Void Arbiter in his hand. So if he gets enough of a card advantage on the field, he could put a Void Arbiter out, which does allow you only to draw a card at the start of your turn. You cannot use your card ability or something like a Celebrations event, anything like that. No, that would actually completely choke off Avkall from getting more options. So this is very pivotal for Avkall. I'd say Smurfburn is in a very, very strong position right now, having so many tools in his deck, like the Doombringer, like the Forbidden Flame, and once he gets something like his Might of Nature out, it's going to be very tough for Avkall to rush through that rest of that 14 life that Smurfburn has. We do see that Vulture about to come out potentially. No, goes for the Archer instead, and we're going to see him use Rise of the Nethermancer, and maybe possibly end his turn.
So there are several things I can see Avkall really needing now, and he really needs those Tainted Orcs he's got in his deck. He's only pulled out, I believe, 2 so far. He still has 2 in his deck somewhere, and he had loads of action points left over here. He would have really needed some of those bigger creatures. The only creatures he had were quite small, and it was not enough really to get the board control back. The board control, I get the feeling, is going between players here. A good choice using that Juggernaut on the 3rd row, placing some more pressure on him, getting rid of the Black Skull Shredder there, also getting rid of the Vulture there. Interesting choices there to get rid of, thanks to the Rise of the Nethermancer. And in Avkall's starting turn here, or as he starts the turn, he finds he does not have the kind of hand he would have liked to have. He only has 1 Vulture there with 6 health points, which would be enough to resist the Juggernaut just for 1 turn, enough to be able to take the Juggernaut out in the next turn. However, that's all he has in terms of health points. His Tainted Orc down at the bottom row looks quite feeble now. It will be able to take out the Lilin, but this will not be sufficient to really counter Smurfburn's push, really. Smurfburn has really taken over here, and it looks like he is in a good position already.
Yeah, I do think that even if Avkall ends up clearing some of this board, with the things that Smurfburn has in his hand, he still has the Forbidden Flame, he has the Doombringer. If Avkall loads the board up too hard, he's going to be punished for it. So Avkall, I feel like he might be a little too invested right now. And he has to make a decision, well, do I want to use one of my sacrificial altars, kill off the Juggernaut that way? It might not be the worst idea in the world, but he's gonna have to burn through Smurfburn's tools in some way, shape, or form. This might go a little bit longer of a game simply because of the way it's shaping right now. There's a chance Smurfburn could clear the board right now. Avkall taking his time, really thinking about this move. He doesn't have the ability to... are we going to see a broken bridge? That'd be an interesting choice. If he does that on the Juggernaut, and Smurfburn decides to use one of his tools like the Forbidden Flame, he actually gets 1 more creature to play. That might actually be a mistake. I'm not sure. We'll see how Smurfburn responds to this. I think if he puts out this Vulture, it's a mistake, because now Smurfburn's going to be able to clear the board, and Avkall does not have the creatures needed to be able to respond. So let's see if Smurfburn decides to do that, and if he does, this could be the turning point in the game right here.
That was definitely an interesting play there. See him get rid of creatures to be able to attack. And he does go for Doombringer with Week of the Dead there to be able to clear out the board. Goes for the Void Arbiter there and starts locking down the board for his opponent, as Avkall will no longer be able to play, draw any card outside of their supply phase. And he is very limited. 1 good Tainted Orc and a Centaur. But basically none of those big cards he may need to be able to seal the deal here and really get on to beating his opponent. And it looks like, despite Smurfburn only having 1 creature on the board and it being Avkall's turn to play, and despite Avkall now being able to play 2 creatures if he wants to on the board, it does look like Smurfburn, by doing that, has taken the lead. And I'm very curious to see how this is going to play out and what Avkall is going to decide to do. Of course, there are 2 Weeks of the Dead down there. He could obviously play the Centaur and trigger a Week of the Dead before playing the Orc to be able to kill off the Void Arbiter. That would still leave him 1 action point to be able to put out another card with Akamas' unused ability there. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see if this is exactly what he'll do. He does have Sacrificial also as well, but you might want to keep that and use the events as much as possible when you need to keep as many cards in your hand as you possibly can. He does go for Sacrificial also though. I think this may be a mistake. This may indeed be a mistake here. Oh, sorry, no. Why am I saying Week of the Dead? I'm getting confused with bloaters there.
I think you're getting confused with bloaters, Mr. Azza.
Yeah.
But either
Special altar does work.
either way, he had to get rid of the Void Arbiter because he was being choked. We see another Tainted Orc in his hand, and I think that Smurfburn is still in a pretty darn good position. We see him using Week of the Mercenaries there, but I think he's almost just trying to find out what's on top of his deck, because that extra 1 damage really isn't going to help out with the Lilim too much, and we're going to see probably him pull a card to get another creature to play out. Even if he loads the board up again, remember, Smurfburn has Forbidden Flame still, and with the Lilim in the top row only at 8 life, it would survive. Only 3 points into Magic. That would be absolutely crucial. So if he plays another creature, it should be the Tainted Orc, because that would survive a Forbidden Flame, but that is not the way he goes. Forbidden Flame might be the right choice right now, as he could potentially start to choke out Avkall again as soon as he gets another Void Arbiter. Let's see how he does this. He does pull a card, Firebolt comes out, he's going to save the Forbidden Flame, using the Hellfire Maniac instead to take damage from the Tainted Orc, and the entire board advantage is switching back to Smurfburn.
And I dare say this is looking bad for Avkall, who doesn't look like he's going to be able to catch up here. He has simply lost too many creatures, and trying to find out what he's got on the top of his deck does go for a revised tactics card. He's got 1 Blast Gold Shredder, 1 Tainted Orc, and a Gold Pile, so technically he could play everything he's got by playing the Gold Pile, gaining the extra 1 resource, and play the 2 other creatures there. But where to play them? It feels like it's going to be GG here. Wherever he plays those creatures, they are going to be killed off. And Smurfburn is going to be able to do a lot of damage the next turn here to his opponent. And any simple boost in damage right now will give Smurfburn the win. And even if Avkall blocks off the 2nd and 3rd row, it's not going to be sufficient to stop Smurfburn from attacking him, at least with one of those rows, and it will not be sufficient for him to really pull off the win, I think, in this game. He does go for a very, very strong strategy, pushing on the attack here. He's going to have to move up that Black Skull Shredder if he wants to have a chance to survive, though. Where will he play this Orc? 2nd or 3rd row? Presumably the 3rd row down there. There we go. Moving the Shredder up to the 1st row. Interesting. Letting that Juggernaut go. Keeping in the Black Skull Shredder in the 1st row will keep it alive, certainly, but will not be blocking off as much damage. This is definitely an interesting choice here for Avkall. But there are so many good cards in Smurfburn's deck right now. I'm just torn. I don't know what to think.
I think one of the right choices to do right here would potentially to be playing the Hikyu. You could buff the creature in either the top row and get rid of the Shredder, or buff the creature in the... There we go. That's exactly what I was saying. Yep, he plays Forbidden Flame and it survives. GG. That was the correct call, as Smurfburn is going to take Game 1 in this best-of-5 series, as he is now looking to go on to potentially be the 2013 World Champion. That was impressive play. Very impressive play. That Demiria deck is one of his specialties, and we saw him pull it off to perfection. Akamis really doesn't have the tools needed to take care of a Demiria deck like that. So I think he played it absolutely to perfection.
Yeah, I completely agree there. There was an interesting start at the beginning where both players were sort of, fighting off to get the board control. But bit by bit, that Demiria deck just bit by bit got the board control after that first Doombringer there, cleared the board away. And we're trying to get you the feedback from the show. Unfortunately, we just lost it. As soon as we get it back, we'll show it to you. And hopefully, as soon as our players are ready, we'll be going into the 2nd game anyway. So we'll keep you posted on that. Yeah, really, really fun deck. Do you think players will be switching decks now, or?
Well, I think I saw someone in chat say something that is pretty true. Either we're going to see a lot more Demirias now, or Akamis is going to become the new meta, right? Nobody really thought Akamis was a good deck before, but man, it's been proved completely strong by the results here at the Road to Paris. With not only do we see Avkall playing it, but we also saw things like Nillycombs playing it yesterday and doing pretty darn well with it as well. So we are just getting into game 2 right now. Again, Smurfburn on the left, Avkall on the right. We have a Sandalphon mirror match. This is a huge swap compared to what we saw last game, and we see 3 Griffins in Avkall's hand. That's a really strong starting hand, especially with that Wolf Captain there. They'll be able to surround it and do some really early damage.
It's interesting you saying it's a strong hand. I thought it was not too strong because part of the strength for this deck is getting those smaller creatures early on and being able to boost with Tithe Collectors, with Dark Assassins and things like that. So it's, I don't know, yes, it's a good creature to have early on because it doesn't able to get some damage and some good health points down on the battlefield. And being a flying creature is quite versatile and you can surround your Wolf Captain quite nicely. However, I would have expected to, you know, maybe a hand that could be slightly better really to pull it off. Yeah, basically the Tithe Collectors that Smurfburn has on the field are really going to help him out, and just with that, it gives him such a strong advantage right now. Just an immense advantage. Next turn he's going to be going up to 5 resource points immediately, and that is huge. Whereas maybe Avkall does get the initial damage there, but right now, I mean, Smurfburn is in a really good position to start getting some hefty creatures out on the board and really doing some damage here. He doesn't have very many big creatures yet, but maybe this will change. We'll have to see what happens here. He can draw a card if he wants to and still play 2 of those creatures.
Yeah, Smurfburn is in a very strong position. Looking at his hand, he has a lot of different tools available to him. Smurf has not only some melee block available, but also the Pow Deathseeker to throw some extra damage in. He already has Song of the Lost, so half of his Wombo combo is available, and that extra resource is really pivotal for him. Now, Avkall, on the other hand, will be able to do the same thing by putting out a Treasurer if he wants to do so, but at the same time, he does have a Lightning Strike available as well, so he might want to clear out another creature from the board. Instead, it looks like he's going to go with option number 1, which is that Treasurer. Getting that income +2, very, very strong early in a match. Being able to play that on your 3rd or 4th turn is absolutely a game changer, really. Getting that income 2, as long as the creature's in play, you get 2 more resources per turn. Smurfburn now is right up to him, same amount, 2 Tithe Collectors, so both are basically getting the same amount of resources per turn, and we see Strength of the Sea going into effect. Oh, wow, what a play, as Smurfburn is going to be able to push through 7 damage, taking Avkall down to 13 health. Is this already a game that looks to be won by Smurfburn? What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, from here on out, Smurfburn is going to be in such a strong position. He has so many cards on the field right now that are protected by Strength of the Sea, and yeah, apart from using things like the spells he's putting out here, he's not going to be able to clear out away enough creatures, I don't think, to be able to make a difference. He has to get lots of creatures out quickly. Luckily, he does have income of 2, and that is helping him tremendously here, as he can play 3 of these creatures. He does go for the Gazer, killing off those 3 creatures out of top. That's a good move there, getting rid of most of the threats so far. However, this Strength of the Sea, as an ongoing spell, is going to just help out so much in Smurfburn's run here, and Smurfburn really will be in a good position to win this best of 5 scenario. And I'm surprised to see how quickly he's managing to get the upper hand. I mean, we knew these players to both be rush-type players, but even then, it's surprising to see how they interact with each other and to see who's trying to take the upper hand and how he's trying to rush his opponent more than his opponent's trying to rush him.
Yep, we do see a Lightning Strike coming out, and at this point, Avkall is just trying to survive. And believe it or not, he just took the life lead by using some of those control spells. And we see the slap in the face from the Tithe Collector, bringing it back to 12 all. And again, we have to look at Smurfburn's hand. He has Song of the Lost. If he gets his Ice Splinters, does the Wombo combo a little bit early, that could be something that really seals the deal for Smurfburn. On the other side of the field, however, Avkall does have quite a few creatures in his hand, but they aren't the kind of creatures that will allow him to load up the front row and stop that Wombo combo. He has a dead card in his hand with Monsoon. Monsoon, not really the best in a Sandalphon mirror match because his spell schools don't really gain the effect of the Monsoon. That's going to be something that will be good for Sandalphon's ability to discard and then gain 2 extra resources. But aside from that, it's pretty much dead in the hand. Those Griffins, if he wants to load up the board, again, not the best card to have, simply because it's going to be able to be moved around by Song of the Lost. So doesn't get stationary, can be moved to front or back row, and we do see him loading up the board. If he's able to pull out all 8s, that could be a potential game changer for stopping from the Song of the Lost, but that Geyser is right there waiting to be used. It won't clear out any creatures, but it could have a change of effect in the coming turns. Will we see maybe the POW being used this turn? I'm not sure. Let's see what Smurfburn decides to do.
I would be very curious to see actually something a bit different from the wombo combo, but using Son of the Lost to be able to reposition your creatures to perfection in order to then use the Gazer to maximum effect on creatures that already have been hit. Yeah, I don't know exactly how he'd be able to do this here, but he has got Paris in his hand. He has got an open row on the second row there. He could be able to deal some more damage to his opponent, bringing him down to 5 health points, and that would be quite important here. Then he could maybe move around the creatures to be able to deal some more damage with the Praetorian maybe. And yeah, he has so much potential here thanks to this spell here, the Song of the Lost, opening up lines as he wishes, as he wants. So all he needs to do really is get a few more hit points into his opponent, and then he can just feel free to grab the strongest creature and start attacking and finish off his opponent, opening up lines with Song of the Lost.
Interesting card in Avkall's deck. He has an Ice Shell there. Week of the Mercenaries is coming out. They are all buffed because there is a Radiant Glory on the top of his deck, and this is an interesting choice because we do see there are the Praetorians out which have melee guard. So the Wolf Captain will only be able to do 2 damage, the Treasurer will only be able to do 1, but with those flying creatures in the back, they will be able to finish off those 2 creatures. So it looks like the Griffins are going to be the ones tanking the damage on that bottom lane, and more damage pushing through. Avkall might have the resources needed on this board to be able to finish this off. Smurfburn desperately needs to see an Ice Splinter come into his hand to wombo combo, and it could potentially win the game for him if he does pull that.
We have a good pull here of the Raging Glory coming down at the perfect moment for Avkall. Really the type of creature he needs there, and we have to note, with a Magic Peddler on the top of his deck for the next turn, if he has any cards he desperately needs, this is how he's going to be able to get them. And this could be a game changer. That Week of the Mercenaries there, plus the very strong Wolf Captain, has made sure that Avkall was able to turn the board around and securing his Raging Glory with Ice Shell here, making sure it can't be killed off in the next turn by this Crusader Watchman is a very, very good move here, giving him an opportunity to tank very nicely on this second row, while putting more pressure down on the bottom row. This I feel may be a mistake here. Opening up this first row, this may be a mistake. I am having problems here calculating fast enough the amount of damage you can do. Lightning Strike comes out.
There is a really big chance that this could be the end of the game right here if Smurfburn played this correctly. Let's see, let's calculate the damage here. There is a Week of the Mercenaries out on the field. POW Deathseeker, he just does not have the resources available. If he still had those Tithe Collectors available.
Week of the Mercenaries on the Holy Praetorian. Let's have the Holy Praetorian move the 2 creatures on the second row around with Song of the Lost.
He can't
attack.
He can't because of the Ice Shell.
The Ice Shell is so powerful.
The Ice Shell is stopping the Song of the Lost from being used. The POW could potentially be used if only he had the resources available to Lightning Strike, Song of the Lost, and POW, but unfortunately that is just not the case. He is going to have to use the Lightning Strike to kill off that treasure and stop some of the resources from coming in, and he is going to have to block with that Magic Peddler. This is looking a little bit more in the favor of Avkall as the match continues on. Ice Shell was the crucial thing there. What a smart addition to the deck by Avkall. Maybe even knowing that he'd play a Sandalphon mirror match. That Ice Shell stops the creature from being moved around, stops it from being affected by the wombo combo. Very, very smart play as Avkall having that in his deck, and we do see another Ice Shell coming into his deck as well, into his hand. That is quite powerful for this matchup.
Absolutely, I got a bit carried away there with my anticipation of what could be done. While Avkall does pull out his Magic Peddler, will he choose a Song of the Lost or Strength of the Sea? These are 2 amazing cards. Both of them have their uses, both of them can be excellently played and crucial to the game. Strength of the Sea would give him an extra buff in his damage, and would really help him out in the long term. Whereas the yeah, he does go for Strength of the Sea, and Yen, will he play it immediately? Yeah, he does go for play it immediately. Getting that extra Fortune Ward, unfortunately, will not be very useful, but that +1 damage is going to be really nice. Coming back to the game, he does open up this 4th line. He will be able to finish off the Holy Praetorian here, opening up the 3rd line as well. Will not be able to finish off this Crusader Watchman, though this Radiant Glory will be surviving, however, the retaliation and the next hit, thanks to the Ice Shell there. So, lots happening here, and Avkall really coming back into the game when I thought he was down. This is really surprising.
If he would have picked Song of the Lost, he could have won. He could have moved everything around. I'm not sure why he decided to go with Strength of the Sea. If he went with Song of the Lost, not necessarily just for the wombo combo, but he could have moved creatures around and just done the damage and won. It could have been GG. That was a huge misplay from Avkall. If Smurfburn comes back to win this, you're going to have to point to this as the crucial moment in the finals. But we still don't really see too much available from Smurfburn's deck. He has the Pow Deathseeker. The Angel of Mercy could come into play if he decides to play this, and what does he pull back? Only a Tithe Collector. Not a very good card for where he is in this match right now. I'm not sure. We have to see. There's a couple of plays that could have been done. And what else can he do here? What else can he do? It's coming down to the wire. I think that this could be the game right here. Week of the Mercenaries coming out. He is going to be able to force through quite a bit of damage. He's going to completely wreck Smurfburn's board. What is the course of action right now for Smurfburn?
Well, right now, Avkall at least could destroy those 2 bottom creatures there. Well, all 3 creatures on Smurfburn's side. A double Week of Mercenaries comes down, and this could be crucial here. Dealing just enough damage here this turn to be able to finish him off with those 5 Griffins here in the back row, be able to finish off Smurfburn with 10 damage, giving him the win, bringing the score back to 1-1 in this best-of-5 finals.
Absolutely incredible play. As we do see, we are now tied 1-1, and we're seeing exactly why these 2 players are here in the finals. Avkall, very smart play from him, as he is able to use the double Week of the Mercenaries, finish off this game, and bring it to 1-1, as we are now tied between our Swedish and our American champions, as they are looking to take home this 2013 championship. And I really feel like it's anybody's game now. If Smurf went up 2-0, it's very tough to come back and win 3. But if anybody can do it, it is Avkall. He's already done it once today.
Absolutely, we saw Avkall lose 2-0 at the beginning of his first semi-final against Matrix. Matrix, who really was looking to be in a good position there early on in the game, but Avkall just carried on, soldiered on, and won his 3 next consecutive games, giving him the victory over our former world champion. And we can now say former world champion. Matrix is out of the race, and he has now lost officially his title of world champion. However, who will take this year's title is still completely open. The discussion is far from over yet. We have had 2 very interesting games from our players of it now in the last 10-15 minutes, with 1-1 being a tie score today for the moment, and it looks like we could still be expecting lots of good games.
So we do see the 3rd game underway, as Smurfburn has gone back to Demiria, and Avkall has gone to his signature deck that he played all day yesterday, which is Takana Osor. And we do see already a Peddler going out on the first turn, and he pulled out, I believe that was the Forbidden Flame. I didn't get to catch that as the screen was just loading. But we do know that Avkall is extremely, extremely potent. It was Forbidden Flame. Absolutely potent on Takana Osor. I believe 6 matches yesterday he played, 5 or 6 matches, almost the entirety of the day. And it did take him this far, so he knows how to play this deck, and we will see if he is able to take the 2-1 lead in this series with his Sanctuary play. It is a more fortune-based deck, so we won't see too many spells coming from it, whereas Smurfburn, we've seen him play this deck already. He has Time of Need, and look at the way he played that Bloater, putting it into lane with the ambush creature and taking it out. Very smart.
I have seen Avkall do some miracles with this deck. Seriously, I have seen him be so good with outmaneuver, just doing whatever he wanted, and already outmaneuvering that magic peddler there just to get 2 damage in. But will 2 damage change the game? Maybe. It's Avkall. Don't be too confident in who will win here. We've seen Avkall really pull out the outmaneuvers on his opponents. Don't forget the Nurai Sirenza is blocking off the line here, making sure that nothing can be placed on that line, and the magic peddler just comes in simply to help dampen the damage and lessen the amount of damage that Demiria is going to be taking early on in the game. Demiria does have a few excellent spells there in her hand. However, will Smurfburn have the time to play those? That is the question, I think, for now, as Avkall is going to be putting on the pressure here with that outmaneuver and with his Venerable Kappa with the Fortune Ward. I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see. He has got so much outmaneuver, 3 outmaneuvers, plus the Stream Singer, which is always nice to be able to get rid of ongoing spells, just in case Smurfburn pulls out something unexpected here. I don't know, and then we also have Honor binds us once more, which gives honor to all Sanctuary creatures, and that is a huge help later on in the game. When you have several creatures next to each other, Honor binds us will add 1 honor for every single one of those creatures, and having 1 honor will buff adjacent creatures attack by 1, which means that every creature will be buffing the other creatures, and it just brings the whole damage output up to a huge amount, ridiculously good damage output.
And as we do see, he is thinking about his move. This is already, I think, a pretty important portion of the game for Avkall, as he has to decide, am I going to outmaneuver right here and throw some damage through? Am I going to be moving my creatures around? Am I attacking? Shark Guard is going to attack the Lilum and put 2 damage out there. And I'm not necessarily sure what the reasoning for that was, unless... Is the Magic Peddler being moved out of the way? Yes, the Sirenza is going to attack, push 3 damage down, and banishing a bloater. I'm guessing just putting 2 damage onto the Lilum to kind of soften the blow from the, I guess you could say, make it a little bit easier to take that down is the way I should word that later on. But there's a lot of different ways he could have done that. He could have outmaneuvered the Magic Peddler down and killed that with the Shark Guard. So curious move. And we'll see where that goes from here. We see a couple of Void Arbiters in his hand. Those are very powerful cards in a Demiria deck. We see the 3 Firebolts as well. So those could come into play for possibly taking out a creature, maybe 2 of them on the top row for the Coral Priestess. That time of need, not anywhere near the requirements to use that just yet, 2 turns away from having the resources for that. That was so crucial in his game versus Oyo. And Smurfburn, every play is becoming so much thought being put into the plays. We see a lot of time and effort into the moves they are making. Another bloater being pulled as Smurfburn is going to start using those Firebolts. Is he going to use all 3 to take down the Sirenza? Yes, he is. So making it so he can deploy creatures in that second line again.
And then banishing that Nurai Sirenza, the very interesting move there, making sure that Avkall can't use it again during this game. Definitely one of those. That is definitely one of the best creatures in Avkall's deck here, and a creature that he has often used very well. So it's a very interesting solution there, definitely, to kill off, even if it's used so many of those precious fireballs. Killing off that Nurai Sirenza, then banishing her thanks to Rite of the Nethermancer was definitely a very interesting and very, hopefully will turn out to be a good choice, basically. So Avkall's turn here. What will he decide to do? He needs to start getting more creatures onto the board. I'm guessing the Venerable Kappa will be coming down soon, but he must be debating about what he wants to do exactly. Yeah, basically taking his time here. This is such a high-level, intense game that we're bound to see players taking a lot of time to think out their maneuvers and make sure they don't make mistakes here, checking their cards, checking the possibilities they have. 6 action points will leave him just enough to be able to play 2 of those creatures. No more though, unfortunately, or just 1 Naga Tide Master, though maybe you want to keep that for the outmaneuver later on in the game. He's taking his time here. Once again, that Honor Binds Us could be very, very nicely played later on in the game if he manages to get enough creatures side by side to be able to use it effectively. So yeah, once again, guys, thanks for joining us. These are the finals of the Road to Paris. My name is Avkall. I'm joined by Jason Paradise, who is the community manager, for the Road to Paris, and we are very, very honoured to have so many people with us today watching these finals. And eventually, Avkall does go for an outmaneuver. Interesting choice there, moving those two creatures to the same line, presumably hoping to get a nice use of a broken bridge there.
Indeed, although a broken bridge onto the Magic Peddler would actually allow Demiria to pull out the Might of Nature, so whether or not that's a smart move or not, I don't know. The Magic Peddler is going to go back up as a blocking creature, and we do see 3 creatures come out in total. The Lurker is going to be blocking off the Coral Priestess, and will we see the Naga Master being moved out of the way, and then the Broken Bridge on that lane? I still don't think a Broken Bridge is the best call, simply because giving Smurfburn the Might of Nature could change the entire tide of this game. In Avkall's hand, we see a couple of Coral Priestesses, we see the Venerable Kappa, we see the Lurker up in the top row that is a potential target for the Broken Bridge. We also do see the Campfire that is in Avkall's hand. That could potentially come into play here if he wants to use a couple of outmaneuvers, push a lot of damage through. Remember, he does have Honor Binds Us. That is going to give, what is it, about 8 damage total that he can push through with those 2 lanes if he decides to use outmaneuver, Broken Bridge, which he would have almost enough resources for. Almost. So, Avkall, a very patient player. Very patient. So he has to decide what those best moves are for him here, as the outmaneuver is a choice. Does he want to pull a card with the Campfire and gain the extra resource? Looks like the first call of action is going to be a Coral Priestess onto the 3rd lane. Is he going to be moving the Lurker in the dark to push more damage through the top row? That seems like the most obvious of moves, but that might not be the case. He does have one of the Liliums selected right now, and he moves that to the top row. He is going to Broken Bridge that top row, bring back his own Coral Priestess for another outmaneuver. Smart play from Avkall.
And Smurfburn will have to start getting creatures back on the board. That second row Naga Tidemaster is extremely strong there. 4 damage output combined with Honor Binds Us would move that up to 5 damage output. But give Avkall such a strong such a strong turn if he doesn't do something about that, blocking those off. He's down to 11 health points, so he can't really afford to take any more damage now. He's going to have to start blocking things off or being so aggressive in his moves that Avkall has no other choice but to defend like that, in a different way. He does go, though, from Forbidden Flame there, killing off those 2 creatures after attacking with the Lilium down at the bottom row, and placing a Lurker in the dark on the 2nd row. That Lurker on the dark is going to be very, very nice, thanks to the fear of 3 here, stopping any creature from attacking it if that creature has a requirement of 3 or less strength. So definitely an excellent defensive move there, getting rid of those crucial damage output creatures from Avkall's side. But let's see what Avkall does. He does use a Venerable Kappa, which has 4 requirement in strength, presumably to kill off the Lurker in the dark. Shark Guard, where's he going to play the Shark Guard? Interesting choice of creatures there. And will he play, now this is a great question, will he play his other creatures, securing him more damage output, or will he be keeping them for later use to be able to get more use out of the outmaneuver? My guess would be he's going to end his turn any second now, keeping these very important creatures in his deck, despite losing out on 3 action points. He could also discard a card by using, I can't select this, I don't know why. He could presumably discard a card by using the event card down at the bottom there and pull a new card out. He is taking his time here. I would love to know what's going on in his mind, to be honest, in his head, as these are going to be crucial turns. Don't forget, we have a 1-1 situation as far as the score goes, so anyone can win here, and they have to be extremely careful of what they play not to lose out. And he does go for the event card using Day of Fortune, and I didn't see what he pulled out there, unfortunately.
It was another Honor Binds Us, I believe, which it could come into play. Honor Binds Us can be used for massive damage. If you load up the board with creatures, all Sanctuary creatures next to each other, you can do some really critical damage to an enemy. We do see the Bloater coming out, and now Smurfburn has the entire front line basically secured. If the Kappa wants to attack, it's going to have to attack through the Bloater, which does 4 damage to it. So the Shark Guard is basically dead in the water. It's going to have to use to block. I wouldn't be surprised to see him move that down into the row with the Juggernaut. We do see a couple of broken bridges still in his hand, which could be used to bounce a creature back to Smurfburn's hand. All outmaneuver is out the window now, though. All 4 lanes are blocked, so it's really tough to figure out how Avkall is going to respond to this. There are not many perfect choices he could make. Drawing a card to get another option might not be the worst idea in the world. He's probably going to bridge that, bridging the Juggernaut. I would have imagined bridging the Kappa so that he could attack, because that way, remember, the Kappa is Fortune Warded. With that Fortune Warded, is immune to fortunes. He could have bridged and continued to attack, push damage through, but instead he bridged the Juggernaut. Interesting choice. He does still have the potential to outmaneuver with the Coral Priestess, maybe move that down. He does decide to do that. Okay, that is one option that he does have, and we are kind of now back to square one. Is he going to Coral Priestess this down? Yes, he is going to push more damage through with that Shark Guard, and suddenly Avkall is in a perfect spot for using one of those Honor Binds Us.
Right now, Avkall in the next turn could be using a Broken Bridge on the Venerable Kappa, getting rid of the Coral Priestess and the Lurk in the Dark, or not, if the Lurk of the Dark is pushed back. But he can always use a Broken Bridge on the Venerable Kappa in order to use the outmaneuver from the Coral Priestess once again after attacking with her, which could always be nice. And with those, with the Honor Binds Us there, I dare say he's in a very good position to win this. All he needs now is to be able to get 6 damage past, and 1 Honor Binds Us would be enough to boost up his creatures that far. So presumably he could do this in the next turn, and we could be seeing Avkall win a 2nd game consecutively here against Smurfburn, with a very interesting game played on his side, despite Smurfburn having such a good start, so many good creatures in his hand. This has been really tough on the Smurfburn here. If Avkall can pull this off, Might of Nature does come up into play, though. Might of Nature does give extra bonus resistance to his melee creatures here, which will be nice.
Chaos. That's
Maws of Chaos.
Maws of Chaos is absolutely huge here. He chooses to discard an Honor Binds Us, though, and not the Broken Bridge. The Broken Bridge is absolutely crucial here, because he could use that still on the Kappa to push more damage through. It all comes down to how Avkall wants to play this. That Might of Nature, though, is absolutely huge, as that he is going to be able to secure a little bit less damage on his creatures. The Broken Bridge does come out, and there is Honor Binds Us. Remember, Fortune Ward does not affect the Kappa. We do see that moved out of the way. That is going to be GG, as Avkall does take Game 3. It is 2-1 in the favor of Avkall. Smurfburn has to win 2 now in a row to become the 2013 World Champion, whereas Avkall is very close to securing the championship victory. What are your thoughts on this game, Hazza?
I'm not surprised. I know how good Avkall is with that deck, and he has not disappointed me once with it. He is just one of the strongest players I have ever seen with Turkana, despite the mistakes he may make, because he does make mistakes. We've all seen him make mistakes, and I think part of the game is making a mistake and recovering. And if you can do that, I think you deserve to be crowned the champion, the world champion in Duel of Champions, because part of it is recovering from mistakes and making sure that you can still keep a strong hand and a strong board as you carry on in the game. So, no, I'm not really surprised. I'm curious to see what they'll do next in terms of deck choosing and stuff like that, but I'm not surprised.
It's really worth mentioning that in a game where there are so many factors involved, and you have such a large crowd. I wish we had a camera view of the crowd here, because it is absolutely huge here at Paris Games Week. So many people. In an environment like this, you are under a lot of stress. And Avkall has made a ton of mistakes, but he has recovered from them absolutely beautifully. And that shows the heart of a champion. So, 1 game away, and we do have our 4th game underway, and it is Avkall going back to Sandalphon, whereas Smurfburn is playing Ashuma. So this is a Sanctuary versus Haven matchup, and we are going to be seeing the potential last game of the series if Avkall can close it out. Smurfburn does have a very strong hand. He has 2 POWs. He has a Snow Maiden for Ashuma's ability. We do also see the Dark Assassin coming out into play. So very strong hands, actually on both sides of the field. 2 Wolf Captains in Avkall's hand as well. Let's see how this game goes.
I find it very interesting to see the switch here. Avkall does go for Sandalphon, whereas Smurfburn is now taking up the role of playing Sanctuary here, and I'm really loving seeing how good Sanctuary is nowadays, and how strategic and how hard and how good it is to use it. It's just such a powerful faction, and it can't be disregarded anymore as being the underdog of the factions, I think, whereas it has been for a long time. Those 2 Wolf Captains that are going to be doing wonders, I think, for Avkall in his deck. He does have 4 action points. He could use both of them right now on the board. Will he be using them maybe to secure that 3rd and 4th line, or more likely to be the 2nd and 3rd row? It's difficult to say. He may go for a more aggressive stance down the 3rd and 4th line, but the 2nd and 3rd lines would also make a lot of sense, trying to counter some of that damage dealt early game by the Shark Guard. With only 18 health points on his hero already, Avkall is going to be defending indeed against the Shark Guard, against that small amount of damage. But 2 Period Seekers, 1 Wanizame, some outmaneuver, and that Raya Sibilant Seductress for Smurfburn really gives him such a powerful deck, combined with 2 1-drops there just to seal the deals at the end of turns when you still have a few action points left over. Definitely an extremely powerful hand, and definitely not a hand that you can take lightly into this game. This is a 2-1 situation for Avkall, so Smurfburn has to catch up, and that hand looks like it could be the hand that will help him catch up. We'll have to see.
We are going to see an interesting choice here. Is he going to increase his might again to go up to 4 and potentially use the Wanizame to boost his attack and the 2 creatures in the top, or is he going to possibly use the 2 Shark Guards and no, we're going to get outmaneuver. Option number 3, pushing damage through with the Shark Guard. The Wolf Captain is moved out of the way down to the bottom, and the ambush on that creature will not be, of course, of as big of use because there's already something there to do damage to it. But there is nothing in Avkall's hand that will allow him to kill off that creature in the bottom row. And we do see actually 2 Magic Peddlers in his hand. He can pull out both of his epic spells. He only has the Crusader Watchman for something that can stay on the board and do decent damage. The POW is a quick burst of 3. He could potentially kill off the Snow Maiden in the top row and stop the immobilization that comes with that. But of course, Avkall, a very patient player, as he is looking to figure out what is the best course of action. What is he going to do? Could he potentially raise his magic, play a Magic Peddler, and play Strength of the Sea? That is an option for putting more damage through to the Ashuma in the 3rd lane. It's all a matter of perspective for Avkall. What is going to be the correct move? I personally would be in the option of either dropping a couple of creatures and loading up the board more, or do we want to potentially use the capability of the Magic Peddler and pull out Strength of the Sea and put that down onto the board? Avkall, he's got to make that decision. So we do see a Peddler. Is he going to make that call? Yes, Strength of the Sea is going into his hand. Avkall potentially going to boost up his magic to 3 and play it right now. Yes, the 3rd point does go into magic, and this is most likely the best move to make, as no, he is going to put the Crusader out and do a 4 damage instead that way, loading up the board in that regard, but he is now susceptible to potential outmaneuver if Smurfburn had it. Of course, we know, lo and behold, that he does not. He doesn't instead choose to move the Snow Maiden down and get rid of one of the Wolf Captains using Ashuma's ability.
So many good creatures in Smurfburn's side. Raya does come down now, blocking off the attack from the Wolf Captain. And don't forget, Raya, whenever she is played, she will be blocking off attacks from any creature in your enemy's board with her really, really awesome ability here. And that's why it makes her one of the best heroes, creatures sorry, to have, combined with Sirensa. I can never remember the name of that one. Nyai Sirensa is another one of those epic sanctuary creatures that are absolutely invaluable in your deck. And definitely it's really nice to see Raya Sibyllin Seductress being played so much during this tournament. And right now she is going to be blocking off this Wolf Captain, so the Wolf Captain will not be able to attack. And this is definitely something that Avkall has to take into consideration when deciding what to play. He doesn't have too much he can do. Some strong creatures, except that the Period Seeker will not be lasting too long. And it may be a bit early to use that Period Seeker if you do not already have Strength of the Sea. However, there is Mana Storm on the board, preventing Avkall from playing them too cheaply, as Mana Storm does increase the cost of spells by 1. That's why you can see the number up here reddened out instead of the normal white. So it will be a question of what does he think is a priority right now, and will his choice be worth it? And he does go for Strength of the Sea in the end, boosting up his creatures by 1, being able to get 6 damage there, and meaning that right now Smurfburn has to start defending the second row. Sorry, only getting 3 damage because the Wolf Captain was blocked off, and this means that Smurfburn will have to decide to start blocking off unless he can get lots of damage done in the next turn to his opponent. The Radiant Glory probably coming down the second or third row. Oh, no, Radiant Glory going for a more aggressive first row positioning here. Really in a position to start dealing damage to Smurfburn and getting his health points down.
This is actually a very, very smart spot for Smurfburn to be in. I should say actually a very powerful spot for him to be in. He has the Week of the Mercenaries available with 2 open lanes. He only needs to be able to stop a little bit of damage, so he does have the potential with the Shark Guards. But instead it looks like he is going to move the Snow Maiden up and use a Pow Death Seeker to clear out that Radiant Glory, prevent damage in that regard. He does still have quite a bit of damage capability. The Raya is going to stop the Wolf Captain from attacking again next turn, and we could still see quite a bit of damage pulling out from Smurfburn on this turn. I think this might be Smurfburn's game to lose, as he is going to use Week of the Mercenaries and push through a ton of damage. Only 5 life left for Avkall, and he only has a little bit of capability. He does have the Geyser that just came in, though. That Geyser could clear out 2 potential creatures if he does target Raya. There is another Week of the Mercenaries available for next turn for Smurfburn if those lanes are not blocked. And really, Avkall does not have the creatures that are going to be able to block all the damage that Smurfburn can push through. The bottom lane does have Ambush. He cannot use that Magic Peddler down there to block. The Pow Death Seeker could be used to potentially take out the Raya after using the Geyser. That might be the best course of action. Geyser coming out onto the Raya. Is he going to use the Pow Death Seeker to finish it off? That is the question. If he does, he could potentially gain a little bit more board control. Pow Death Seeker is coming out, is going to go down onto the Raya, and suddenly the board is a little bit more open. If another he has to move that Wolf Captain down to block. If two Week of the Mercenaries come out, oh, the ambush! The ambush cleared that out. He does use that. The Pow Death Seeker is going to finish this out.
This is awesome!
Smurfburn is going to take this game and go up.
2-2!
It is now 2-2 as we are now all tied. It is going to come down to a crucial game number 5. We are all tied.
I have seen Avkall forget. Well, I've seen people forget ambush so often. I feel like, what is happening, guys? Ambush. Oh, once again, ambush is such a pity. I saw players lose so many powers to that. We saw a Magic Peddler go down to that. This is such a pity to see. However, it brings us to a 2-2 situation here, 2-2 scenario, so we will have a third and final game today. This is awesome.
This is really awesome.
Overwhelmed.
I'm overwhelmed. Who will be taking home the Championship Cup? Who will be taking home that Zoram statue and the Razor Blade laptop? It's all coming down to a crucial 5th game. Avkall, wow, That could have been the turning point right there. Absolutely crucial. He should have moved the Wolf Captain down and protect, but he could not do so. We are going right now into the 5th and final game, as this will decide our 2013 World Champion. Who will be the champion? Will it be Avkall, or will it be Smurfburn, the North American?
You tell us, guys.
I would love to hear your opinions. This is the end of the road to Paris 2013, and Avkall is going back to the basics. What has got him here with a Camus, whereas Smurfburn is sticking with his Sandalphon. This is the end of the game right here. Who goes home the champion? It's all on the line in game number 5.
And already a very strong starting hand for Smurfburn with that Type Collector already on the board, another one waiting in his deck, with a Magic Peddler, a Griffin, an Archer, and 2 paired F-Seekers there, as well as the Angel of Mercy to help out bring more pairs back from the graveyard. That would be really nice if we can see so many pairs being played here. And I'm surprised he doesn't take out the Dark Assassin already for Avkall, meaning that Avkall is going to get a good 4 damage dealt already to his opponent. Avkall has once again gone back to Akamas, and he's so strong with Akamas, I wouldn't be surprised if he has managed to gain this last game, because he's just had a practically impeccable run so far with Akamas. And he does have a good hand with Tainted Orc being one of his favourite cards there, the Dark Assassin being unchallenged early on in the game, letting him deal the first 4 damage there, with also Revised Tactics, Sacrificial Altar, and Campfire, some of the cards he absolutely loves to play. And it really does look like this could be a very even game, very interesting cards on both sides, very good hands on both sides. Finally, the pair coming down to kill off this Dark Assassin, a necessary move, unfortunately. Sacrificing Pet F-Seeker to be able to counter the 4 damage. You cannot let the 4 damage come down. The Holy Praetorian coming down, protecting the Type Collector from the attack of the War Oliphant there, meaning the Type Collector will be able to sustain some damage, if not a lot of damage from now on, and keep on pumping up the resource production for Smurfburn, who is going to be able to play a lot of creatures in the next turn here, getting the board control completely sorted out, if I may say so, whereas Avkall is going to have to struggle here despite having some very good creatures to get the board control back. He's going for Centaur Archer here, meaning that he still doesn't have action points to play one of his creatures, maybe yes, he goes for a Goblin Archer as well. Where will he decide to play it? He goes for the 3rd row here, trying to take out his Type Collector. So now absolutely the most important thing he can do right now to start dampening down the amount of action points that Smurfburn has at his disposal. That Goblin Archer there will be able to kill off the Type Collector, bypassing the 2 melee protection received from the Holy Praetorian here. The Type Collector is very wisely moved up. Very interesting to see. The Type Collector is moved up as a countering creature. The Magic Peddler coming down straight to the sea, being pulled out and buffing the creatures here, helping Smurfburn once again get the upper hand here very early on, with lots of great creatures on the board. And the Type Collector at the bottom is protected now, whereas the top one is offered as a sacrifice to be able to block off some of the damage.
I feel as if Smurfburn is in a very, very strong position right now. Avkall is going to have to claw tooth and nail to come back into this game, but he does have a couple of tools available to him. Of course, 2 weeks of taxes out are not going to help out very much when those tools are both fortunes. So it's very tough for Avkall right now, with 2 creatures basically unable to do very much. His Goblin in the back only going to be able to do half the life to that Praetorian, while this Centaur is going to be able to kill off the Tithe Collector in the top row. The Oliphant is basically a wall of meat in the bottom row. This is going to do no damage if he attacks, so all he can do is basically move it. This is tough, as Avkall is against the wall. The Sacrificial Altar could come into play if he wanted to sacrifice, but it looks like the Tainted Orc is going to be the choice. Again, with the melee guard out, all he needs to do is move the Praetorian up, and it will protect from that Orc. I don't know. Smurfburn, he looks to be very, very comfortable with the position he is in. He can do 5 more damage to Akamas this turn and get 1 step closer to victory. Will that be the call, or will he decide to go elsewhere?
Indeed, it's a very interesting position here for Smurfburn, who is in a good start for the finals. Basically, this is a final game. Smurfburn has had an excellent start. He's got such a good hand here. Some very strong creatures there. Lots of protection. Lots of damage output with the Period F-Seeker and the Raging Glory having 3 each, as well as loads of small creatures he can potentially boost up there. That Angel of Mercy helping him out, get some good creatures hopefully back from the dead afterwards. Whereas Avkall is going for a very rush-oriented tactic here with a very strong top line with 7 damage output. However, if he doesn't start countering the small output damage of these creatures bit by bit, he's going to be worn away by the attack from Smurfburn. Smurfburn is managing to deal quite a lot of damage here, bringing Avkall down to 9 health already, meaning that only a couple of hits from pairs would be sufficient to bring Avkall to his knees and give Smurfburn a victory in this final Road to Paris game. And Avkall not getting the cards he needs. That Dark Assassin would have been perfect early game, but right now he needs something with more health, something that can tank lots of that damage and hopefully retaliate and deal some damage in return. It does not look like it's going to be a very strong hand here for Avkall, who just doesn't have what he needs right now.
Indeed. It looks as if Smurf is in perfect position to potentially close this game out, and if he does close this out, he will be the champion for 2013, replacing Matrix Disc as the current world champion. And our Akamis player, Avkall, trying so desperately to change the meta. He has played Akamis brilliantly up to this point, but right now, kind of not... Akamis using, of course, his boar, not really riding it in the right direction towards victory, as Smurfburn, again, those Praetorians have really been the change of the battle. Such a strong 2-drop card with that melee protection, but with that strong lane in the top row, the Tainted Orc and the Centaur able to take that down, the Shredder coming out as well to get rid of the Magic Peddler, and suddenly the board is in control of Avkall. This is actually almost a perfect setup for a Wombo combo. And wouldn't it be so funny to see the finals brought down to the end, and Sandalphon, what he's known for, that Wombo combo being the reason he won? That could potentially be the case, as, again, we are inching closer and closer to crowning our 2013 world champion. But, again, not over yet. A POW Deathseeker being pulled, and nowhere for that to push through to do the damage needed. He could potentially use a couple week of the Mercenaries and use those POWs, or I should say use one week of the Mercenaries and a POW to clear out the Shredder or something of that, to that nature, but we'll have to see what he does.
If he now used a power to kill off that Goblin on the 3rd row, plus a week of the Mercenaries to boost up the Raging Glory, he'd be in an excellent position to deal 5 damage to his opponent. 5 damage meaning that his opponent would be down to 4 damage, which means that one more power in the next go, boosted by Might of Nature, Strength of the Sea, sorry, would be sufficient to bring down Avkall in the next go. Let's see what he'll decide to do. Oh, unlucky draw, unfortunately, with the first week of the Mercenaries with the guys on top of his deck, which means he's going to have to put out a card.
Discard. He's going to discard.
He's going to discard to get more resources. Goes for a first hit there. Opens up the lane for his first Period to come down, presumably hitting Akamis for 4 damage here. There we go, 4 damage dealt, bringing Akamis down to 5 health points, and it's going to be a Crusader Watchman on the top row there to block off the damage here. Unfortunately, that Crusader Watchman is offered up to the gods as a sacrifice to boost, to block off some of the damage.
Wow, but the Mercenaries used again an inheritance on the top. This is going to be Avkall having to use 1 resource point to be able to draw another card. If he's smart, he could use the Revised Tactics as well, although unfortunately Week of Taxes is out, so that will cost 2 resources to be able to use the Revised Tactics for 1 extra chance at drawing a card. I don't know. It could potentially be what he wants to do if he does not pull another creature after the card. There's a Vulture on the top. Week of Mercenaries is going to be able to be used here to full effect. And it looks like enough damage will be able to push through that will clear at least the top half of the board for Avkall. He is not out of this yet, folks. He's had such bad luck with those Week of Mercenaries today, but it does come into effect for him right now. He is going to clear out 2 creatures, which brings the Vulture down to only 2 resource points to use. And he does have full control of the board right now.
Absolutely, and dealing more damage here to Sandalphon. He is going to be able to deal at just 10 damage here, and that is absolutely huge. Smurfburn, despite an amazing start, an absolutely amazing start, some really great play, has just simply not been able to counter this deck, and Avkall has come back up to the top here and has completely gained the board control, dealing loads of damage to Smurfburn, and Smurfburn will be down to 6 health points on his hero, and he's going to have to start to block off Avkall, even moving his Black Skull Shredder down to deal damage instead of hitting the hero. Very interesting choice there, trying to counter any damage that may be done to his hero. But we see a Gazer come out here, opening up presumably the line.
Geyser Week of the Mercenaries could be the end of the game. That is all he needs. If he uses the Geyser on to the Vulture, that could be the game right there. Unfortunately, an Ice Splinter's on the top. He will not have the resources available to finish off the game. This is not going to be, well, he could
This could be. He's going to be using Geyser on the Black Skull Vulture, opening up the line here, thanks to a hit from his creature there, and that would open up the line completely. The Periodepsic would come down, boosted once by Strength to Sea, boosted a second time by Week of Mercenaries, bringing the boost up to 5 damage output, and this is enough to finish up. No,
he didn't get Week of the Mercenaries. It was an Ice Splinter. That's what I just
said. No! He pulled an Ice Splinter! Oh, so close! And this leaves...
The Week of Mercenaries going the other way now, and that's the game.
And that's the game for Avkall! Oh my goodness! It's going all over the place, wow!
The 2013 World Champion is going to be Avkall, and we see him smiling on the screen. Let's go full screen for this, as Avkall is now the 2013 World Champion and will be taking home the cup with only 1 life remaining as a jumping the gun, and I am speechless as Avkall, absolutely incredible. Smurfburn raising his hand as the victory, 2013 Road to Paris World Champion Avkall. Unreal. I'm speechless.
Same here. I can't believe I misread that last action so badly. But such an amazing turn of events. So many great plays throughout the whole tournament. And I'm really, really pleased to see how far Avkall has come. I know he's not the favourite in the tournament. I know that so many other players have played flawlessly as well. And yet Avkall has come back up through all of that. He's beaten all his opponents one by one. And he's really deserved this victory, fighting so hard for the finals. And he's been practicing for hours before getting here, and I really do feel he deserves this win finally after some great play. Unfortunately, we will not be able to hear his results right now. We may be able to get him to come and say a few words later on if we're lucky enough to grab him, but it must be a tremendous relief for him now. He was coming to Sweden to just have fun. He ended up competing in the Road to Paris 2013, ended up winning a place in the finals here today, and he ends up coming out victor when he just went to Sweden. He just went to the DreamHack for fun with his brothers, and I think that is just an amazing story. Don't ever feel you can't take part in any kind of tournament you might see on a booth of a game you don't know, because that may just be your way of winning and some awesome prizes.
I feel like the meta is changing. Akamis. We just saw an Akamis win the World Championship, a hero that most people thought was useless. Akamis. And this is absolutely mind-boggling, as now the North American player finishes in second place, as Avkall will be hoisting the trophy, as Simon, one of the people in charge of our game, is handing him the trophy, and Avkall raising the trophy in victory as the 2013 World Champion with Akamis. I would have never guessed.
And it came down to 1 health point. It really did. It came down to the last health point in this game. These have been 5 excruciatingly hard duels for both of our players. Every single time we've seen some great moves, some fails as well, but that is to be expected in such a tournament with so much pressure. These guys have been playing for 2 days non-stop, and there's been so much pressure for these guys that, misplays are a natural thing in these kind of tournaments, and it's still amazing to see how well these players can play despite all the pressure and all the waiting and all the hardship that is put upon them throughout these last 2 days. So congratulations to Avkall, who is our World Championship, and congratulations also to Smurfburn for getting so far and only barely losing to him. So, and congratulations, of course, to everyone else who took part in the Road to Paris, not just the 8 who came with us today to the Road to Paris, but also everyone else who took part, everyone else who has helped us in the community, build up the community, and build up this event to make it as big as it is today. And once again, thank you guys for joining us today. This has been really an awesome day, and it's been awesome to show you all this. Despite, as you may say, despite the mistakes, we have seen some great plays here and some really surprising choices in deck buildings. So I am not disappointed to be here today, and I'm really pleased to have been able to commentate this with you guys and with Jason. This has been really awesome. Yeah, Jason, anything you might want to add?
I'm just, my mind is absolutely scrambled right now. I think that everyone should be shocked, honestly, that Avkall, someone that most people were writing off, he was the underdog coming into this alongside Smurfburn. We had 2 underdogs in the finals, and 1 point in Game 5, 1 point of health, decides the victor. So after winning DreamHack, he comes here to Paris to finish off the Road to Paris Grand Championship with a Camus. Absolutely incredible, to say the very least. So I think we're actually going to be tuning out here very shortly, as we're just about done. We have the 2013 championship completed, as we see the two shaking hands, sharing a word, and Smurfburn congratulating the victor, giving him a hug. Very good sportsmanship. So the prize, of course, Avkall not only winning that championship cup, but also a Zorm figurine, and the biggest prize of all, a Razer Blade laptop worth $2,500. Both of these players will be, of course, joining us for our VIP testers in the future to help shape the game. So who knows, we might be seeing more of Camus here in the future. But we are just about done here. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Road to Paris Finals. I, of course, am Jason Paris. I am out of breath, and my throat is killing me. I'm not going to be able to talk tomorrow. It's horrible. Jason Paradise here, alongside Azza. Thank you so much. It has been an absolute pleasure to cast with you. Thank you guys for tuning in, and hopefully we'll be seeing you back here very soon for the 2014 Road to wherever it might be. Thank you guys so much. Take care. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye, everyone.